Hi, I'm Meg.
And I'm David.
Welcome to The Average Vegans, a podcast to help you live an attainable vegan lifestyle. We're not the ripped influencer vegans you hear about in other podcasts. We're just some ordinary people living in the South, eating plants and loving animals.
All right. Well, on today's episode, we're talking about the hows and the whys of snooze time. No, the hows and the whys of sleep.
You
Uh,
really caught me off guard. I really, for a second there,
uh,
thought you were going to be just natural and normal about it.
Me, natural, normal. That's
Snooze
not what I do.
time.
That's not my modus operandi,
Oh, I love it.
as the Latin kids say.
You're
Latin?
silly.
Yeah, Latin. That's what
The
I do.
hows and whys of sleep.
Sleep.
Yes. Has nothing really to do with being vegan, and that's okay. But sleep has everything to do with taking care of yourself, and we're all about that.
Oh yeah, that's
And giving your body one of those essential key requirements that you
very
need.
key.
You need water, you need sleep,
Very key.
you need food.
And we talked about when we talked about our we went for this we went for the next year. Our plans. One of it was not only keeping the very strictly vegan stuff, but also putting a little more self care, mental health, that sort of stuff involved. So this is one of them. And yeah, it's you can actually die from lack of sleep. Like
Yeah,
it
it's
will
kind
kill
of
you. Like if you
important.
go, I think it's a week without sleep, you will die. Your heart will give up and you will die. Yeah, you need it. It's kind of a thing for life. Um, People have done. You actually hallucinate and visually
Yes.
and auditorily hallucinate with lack of sleep. Because people have tried to see how long they'll go. I think to the point where the Guinness Book of World Records won't even record it anymore. I think I read somewhere.
Because
Because
they don't want to encourage people
yeah,
to attempt it. Oh, I love that.
yeah,
That's
because
actually great.
there are
Good on
things that
them.
when it gets to the point where any more than this and you can die, they don't record. Like how many nails can you a person lay on? And it's like that's the point where it's like you can't lay on nails anymore because it's one and it will puncture you. You can right.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
there's
So
rules.
that's good to know.
Yeah, so I don't think they even
A little
record it
tangent,
anymore.
but good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sleep has also kind of been an issue for both of us as adults. As a kid, I could sleep like crazy. As a teenager, is my favorite thing to do up until probably the last, I don't know, 5 years. I could probably sleep in pretty well. And
Really?
then that switch happened and things went south. But I've always had sleep problems as an adult. um I don't think I acknowledged them as much when I had younger children because I just blamed them. Or when I
Sure to
was
help.
in college before I had kids, or when I was in college after I had kids. I also just blamed all those things.
Right.
But really, I've just kind of struggled a lot of my life with insomnia. So, um, I I've also found lately waking up in the middle of the night and not being able to go back to sleep kind of insomnia too.
Yeah.
So the not being able to in the beginning and then also in the middle, kind of a pain in the butt. It's like, two for one. Fun times.
Well,
But
I woke up multiple times last night, like every two
yes,
hours.
it just
Yeah.
happens so much. I have really been focusing, like you said, on sleep and making it as much of a priority as I can,
Mm.
considering, I have a very busy life. I have a lot of extra things going on. But I try so many different things throughout my life. And some of the things that you added on our list are things that don't work for me. Well, at least one of them. So
Yeah, we can talk
I've
about that.
had to definitely try some things along the way. And I've kind of had a few breakthroughs this year. So I'm excited to talk about this stuff. We're obviously not doctors,
Oh,
we're
by no
just,
stretch.
you know,
By no stretch. Um. Yeah. Well, I get. And I've always been. I mean, I have sleep has always been eluded me. But I mean, I've always never really slept that much anyway. I get about 5 hours of sleep a night. Six if I'm lucky. But I wake up. I will do that. Wake up naturally, and I wake up feeling fine. Um, but the two
a
issues
weirdo.
I know, right? To the point, I could literally say, okay, I need to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. If I'm asleep by midnight, no alarm. I can wake up around 5 o'clock. No.
Then
alarm.
there does come a day though where you just like get zonked out
There's
and you
every now
sleep
and
a
then.
bunch.
There's every now and then where I'm like, I slept 9 hours. Holy.
And I'm like, what
very
happened?
rare.
You're like, I don't know. I woke up on the couch.
It's very weird. Yeah. Usually it's when I've like exhausted myself through the day. Like I went out and like I did a run and a hike and I went to like restaurants and I went around and like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. But I also have I'm a light sleeper.
Yes,
So
me too.
I would get very easily. Which like living with someone was kind of difficult at times because, like if they got up in the middle of the night to use the restroom, I'd have woke up. If they rolled over, or like heavy, wake me up. If they talked in their sleep, wake me up. I can probably hear my snap every time. Shouldn't do that, but woke me up every time. So I had to get used. I have to get used to that. I basically have to get used to someone like being around.
I'm gonna have to say I was not gonna talk about this. I had no intentions of even mentioning this. But I'm the same exact way.
Yeah.
And I've been married for 21 years now. And for the last 6 years, almost 6 years, we have slept in separate bedrooms because I am such a light sleeper and he is such a deep snoring, like
God.
large man. He's like 6'4". He's very tall. And he just, has always been like a loud sleeper and a breathing heavy sleeper.
Yeah.
And I toss and turn. I can hear everything. It would drive me nuts. I would get mad at him as if he could do anything about it. Not his fault, but I would
Right.
physically like have to punch him. And like in the arm, not his face. It's fine. That's fine. I do not condone violence, but drove me freaking nuts. So when we built this house, we purposely, this room was supposed to be a loft, and we made it into a little bedroom so that I would have a space to sleep where we could both sleep well. I can't say that it's always helped with my sleep, but I have found some things recently that changed the game. I'm very excited. So
excellent. We can talk about this a little bit. So my brain quit working. Like it does. ADHD is awesome. So I don't move much when I sleep. I
are
barely
you like
move.
a one position person?
I'm a side sleeper. And,
Okay, me
so
too.
like I sleep by myself, like you do, right? And I have a king bed. If I sleep on one side of it, right, I make the bed. The other side doesn't move. I can get in the morning, take my blankets, pull them over, straighten them, and it looks like I never slept in the bed.
My God.
If I roll over, I literally flip myself over. So I don't roll. I don't kick my feet. My arms don't move. I have a bad left shoulder, so I also like cuddle a pillow. And I'm not embarrassed. I have a cuddle pillow.
I do that too.
Everyone should have a cuddle pillow. It's nice. Good for cuddling, good for sleeping. But I also have a bad shoulder, and if I don't do that, my body will slump a little bit and put pressure on my shoulder. It also helps my shoulder. So I sleep on my side with a little pillow, and I virtually never move. I may roll once, but that's it. The bed doesn't move. If I do lay my back, I will snore. But as long as my back, no sounds. I might make a little bit of noise or something, but hardly no sound. I hardly move. It's really weird. But I'm also a light sleeper, so I'll wake up really easily. But I also have, and this is fun, exploding head syndrome.
Okay, you're gonna have to explain that because people are not gonna understand
so much. Okay, so it is a thing. So it's not like I'm making it up, and I never knew what it was.
I love how you started. Like, listen.
Well, everyone is like, okay, exploding head syndrome. It sounds dramatic.
Sounds like something David would make up.
Right. Okay, this sounds cool, huh? No, so because I never knew what I thought I was like going crazy. I thought something was wrong with me. I was like, why in the hell is this happening?
No.
Right. So basically, I'm trying to boil this down to all the. So it's been studied. It's hard to study because it doesn't happen all the time. It's usually stress induced, and that it is for me. The more stressed I am, the more likely it's to happen. So basically, as you're falling asleep and you're entering a state of paralysis, your body starts shutting down parts of your body, so you don't like get up and walk around and like act out your dreams. And we're not. I don't plan on getting into sleepwalking because that's a whole other thing. But
One of my kids did that as a
oh yeah,
little
you
kid.
mentioned that. Yeah,
Woo!
you talked about it before. That had to
Fun
be
times.
right. So it also shuts down like your visual, your auditory, all this stuff. Basically, your brain starts shutting itself down to kind of become unconscious. Um, so the belief is because there's not so much known about it now because they're trying to figure out what's going on. But when they do brain scans, people who have exploding head syndrome, which again, I'm going to explain what it is a little more here in a second.
Right.
As that part of the brain shutting down, they see triggers in the auditory and sometimes the visual part of the brain.
Okay.
So it's almost like as these are shutting down, there's a trigger, a click, almost there's almost like a trigger of electric impulses in the brain to trigger the visual auditory part. So you hear sounds as you're falling asleep, and sometimes flashes of light come along with it, depending on what the sound is and what's going on. But it sounds like car crashes, glass breaking,
Oh no.
banging on walls, cymbals. So I mean, I would and now I know what it is. But when I was younger, so I used to have this thing where I get in the middle of the night and I walk around the house like a bat, like ready to like take on intruders. And my mom was like, "What are you doing? Go to sleep." And like someone's getting in the house. I now know it's exploding head syndrome because I thought someone was trying to break in the house. I'd hear noises.
Oh.
So I'm like ready to take on somebody break. No, it's my, that's my
Such
brain.
a brave little David.
No, 8 years old, my little tidy whities walking around the house. Our boxer briefs now.
So much. That's awful, though.
So it happens now.
Yikes.
Like I would sit and I'll hear like glass breaking, and I'm like, I know it's nothing major, or I hear like cymbals crashing or a car wreck outside. It sounds like a car wreck outside, which sometimes has flash of lights and stuff with it.
Oh,
so
that's even crazier.
the problem is it triggers your fight or flight, so your adrenaline shoots up, and now you're awake.
Ugh.
So it's one of those like maybe you're stressed, like I'm stressed out. Life's kind of a little difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to finally relax, go to sleep. I hear a loud
and
crash.
then you're just jolted
and
right
now
out of it.
My
Yeah.
body's like, we gotta run, motherfucker, let's go. And like we don't because it wasn't real. So I've been like, I've had my ex. We lived here. We slept in the same bed. I would just sit there and it'd be dead quiet. I go, shit. She'd go, what?
Oh
like,
no.
Nothing. I just heard a noise. And now I can't go sleep. And I would just lay there for like hours until it finally
That
subsided.
sucks.
Yeah. So I've exploding. So I'm a light sleeper with exploding head syndrome, and I barely move. So my sleeping is fun. So let's talk about how. Yeah.
And it's not just a light sleeper, but you only sleep for a few hours, even
Right.
if when you do.
Yeah.
5 to 6 hours is, on regular, like that's very unusual. So
Yeah, and apparently people with ADHD, which I know I have, that's very typical of people with ADHD is have like a very like a lower sleep hour. I probably need more, but I don't get more than I have to force myself to go back to sleep. Even the quality, if I do that, the quality's not good. It's like a really crappy nap if I try doing that.
I understand that completely.
So I go to bed at like 3:00 in the morning most nights because I'm gonna wake up at 8:00. So might as well. Otherwise, if I can go to bed at like 1, I'm gonna wake up at 6, which is
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
What are the stages of sleep? The sleep has stages. It's very important.
Oh my God, you just went like so low. Like now
Right.
we're in our little chairs with like our robes and
is,
cigars, and we're gonna talk about sleep.
Let's talk about sleep. And first, we talk about our pledge drive.
My
You too can
favorite
donate.
part of sleep is when you first get into that comfy position. For me, it's when I'm on my side and then I hike my leg up and I hug the little pillow that I also hug. You're
Oh, you
not
did-
special.
You
Everybody
did like
does
the
that
knee over,
too.
the knee over the pillow thing. That's what you mean?
Yes, I
Yeah.
hug the pillow and the legs over it. And that position, and I now lately, because I'm all trying to be like full of gratitude and shit, and mindful. I really focus on how great that feels now. And I'm just like, this is one of those feelings in the world where you're just like, I want to miss this feeling someday. Like someday when my insomnia is back and I can't just roll over because
Yeah.
like flash ahead, but I have not had insomnia like I used to in a very long time.
Nice.
There's like one night probably in the last few months, and it's all like thanks to one thing, but we'll get to it as
Okay.
we after we go
Yeah,
through some of the stages of sleep. But
yes, yes, yes.
I'm excited to talk about things that I've
Oh
changed.
yeah.
Woohoo!
Uh,
Sorry,
no, you're good.
sleep makes
Um,
me happy.
oh yeah, me too. When I can actually get.
I know.
Uh, so we have three. We have, well, there's technically four stages. So you have the three minor, and you have the last stage. So the first stage, where it's considered your transition stage, this is where your brain waves are becoming lower. This is where paralysis will usually start to come into play, where you're not moving as much, you're calming down. In stage two, you're gonna have no eye movements. Your body temperature will start to lower, and this is actually your longest stage. You'll sit in. You sit in this one for I think it was I think it was a couple hours. You sit in this one. I can't remember the top of my head. And then on the third stage, your heart, your brain waves, your breathing, they get to their lowest point, where there's no movement, there's no eye movement, and especially if you slept on the same like bed as they, whether it be like a child your child or a partner, and you're not sleeping, you can kind of tell when somebody's getting into this state, because you can almost feel that bed kind of relax on their side, where they just kind of get heavier, and they're not rolling over, they're not moving their feet. Their breath is becoming extremely spaced.
Yes. When you're the person who can't fall asleep and you're sleeping next to someone who just can.
Right. Yeah.
You do sure feel that.
Yeah. There's just that really slow breath. And it's almost like monotone.
Yes.
And you can almost count by it, right?
Way less resentment now that I'm not in the same bed as him, because man, that makes me so jealous. I cannot just jump into sleep like a jerk.
I've dealt with having to like help a toddler go to sleep, and I'm like, you have to, it is with toddlers, you kind of like sit with them and kind of get them there, to get them to learn how soothing to get into sleep, and you're like, and there it is. Okay, you're not moving. No, I'm good. So your final stage is REM. That's rapid eye movement. That's where it comes. That's where everyone knows, like, where you dream. That's where you're going to. Interesting enough, your heart rate, your breath, everything will start to increase. You actually will start maybe moving a little bit, maybe some twitches, and you kind of not really acting out. That's again more like a sleepwalk kind of a thing. But your body is having some reaction to the additional brain waves, and you'll sit in that for about 90 minutes, about an hour and a half. You'll sit in the REM, and then your cycles literally start over again. You'll basically go up to stage two. You're not going to stage one, because that's when you're starting to get into it. Right. But you'll go back to stage two, and you'll cycle for 2, 3 REM, 2, 3, all multiple times throughout the night. You won't always remember your dreams. I think I had read that.
I was just going to ask you if you remember yours. Dang it.
Yeah, so I do. I rarely do.
Me too.
Apparently, you typically remember your dreams if you wake up during them. If you wake up during REM, you're more likely to remember a dream. But once you exit REM and go back on stage two, it's gone.
Okay, interesting.
But I very rarely remember a dream. If I do, it's like, I think it was a tiger, and that's like, I got nothing.
Oh,
I barely remember like anything that I dream. Oh
yeah, for the longest time I said that I don't dream.
Yeah.
And like, or at least I don't remember any dreams at all. For like a long time, until recently. That's
really?
how I know it's real good sleep's been happening, because I have had dreams where when I wake up, when my alarm goes off, I was dreaming of something, and I'm like, oh, I remember it. Like, yeah. Oh my God, what's that like?
It's kind of weird.
I forgot that I hadn't done that in so long. It's like so nice. I love it. Almost like several times a week now. I have like a little bit of a remembrance of a dream. I don't ever keep the memory in my brain or write it down or anything, but I'm just like, oh my God, I was dreaming some stuff. All right.
I'd be cool to learn how to lucid dream, but that just seems like a little more work than what to put in.
Yeah.
You know what lucid dreaming is,
I mean,
correct?
Yes. And I have one of my podcast girls, like she's very much into lucid dreams, and she actually recommended a book all about it, and I really listened to it. It was so interesting. I have movie dreams where I am like another character.
Are you first person or third person?
I am like I mean, I'm first person a lot of the
I
time,
have third
but then
person
there's
dreams.
like also like a narrator like also chiming in and giving bits of information. Like it's so
That's
weird.
weird. That's weird.
I have been a 5-year-old child that was kidnapped and like woke up and was able to escape and like in a rural country town. Like I can give you all the details. And it's like, is this a past life of mine? I have no idea, but I can tell you like this movie in my brain.
I will tell you a recurring dream I
I don't know
had
why.
growing up. I haven't really, I can't remember having an adult, but I had growing up. I don't know what it is, but it's this recurring dream where I would like, I'm in the street and my legs don't work and a
Oh
car's coming
no.
and I'm trying to crawl out of the street. My legs don't work. I can't get up.
Oh my
It's
God.
recurring.
Sometimes
It's
I just
horrifying,
think like, is that how you died?
right?
Like
Uh,
so
so
so wild.
So here's two fun things. First off, this is obvious, and if this gets asked. I see asked all the time, especially like I watch YouTube videos like with people who are blind, and they get asked like, "Do you dream?" And but how people dream,
Okay.
but it's auditory.
Oh,
Which I was like, oh, I mean that's obvious, but like, because we're also used to like seeing things. It's like, well, yeah,
yeah.
if you don't see stuff, like, yeah, it's auditory. Unless you had sight at one point in your life, then you'd have some visual.
That's so interesting.
But you can't. This is interesting. This is what I thought was kind of interesting. Um, and if I'm wrong, email me. Right? Tell me I'm wrong about this stuff. But uh, you can't dream a face you haven't seen.
Yes. Yes, I've heard the same exact
Yes.
thing.
If you see someone in a dream,
Mhm.
even if it's like you think it's a stranger, you saw that person at some point. You
Yep.
can't make up a face. You have to dream a face you've seen.
Hmm. Which can be really like startling if you have scary dreams,
Yeah.
which I used to when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's so creepy. But yeah, I heard that a long time ago and I thought that was so interesting.
What think?
Um,
What?
if you wear a Fitbit or any sort of
Oh.
like Apple Watch or anything like that, it does track your sleep. I usually wear a Fitbit. I haven't in quite a while though, because it was starting to bug my wrists. It really annoys my any sort of like wrist jewelry drives me nuts.
Same.
And that's like, I don't know, it just annoyed me. So I took it off for a little bit. But that was my favorite part of wearing a Fitbit was to see my sleep. And like I want to use it now that my sleep has changed because I think the stats would be really interesting. Um, because things are so different. At least it feels very different to me. So I'm gonna maybe I'll do that and we'll have a little update
That'd be
in one
interesting.
of the upcoming episodes and see. I didn't even think about that until right now. Good
Okay.
job, Megan.
Was it's kind of interesting too, like because like we don't scientifically we don't fully know why we sleep. Like we don't know what's. I mean, there's benefits of like rebuilding
Yeah.
tissue and muscle recovery and things like that.
Right. That's the first thing that comes to mind
Right.
is like your body just needs to recover.
Right, because we don't fully know why we sleep. We don't fully know why we dream.
Yeah, the dreaming part is really
Right.
wild.
So, I am not in the camp that your dreams mean something.
Okay. All right.
And
I don't think all of them do either because my dream of being kidnapped in the rural South and held captive by the army is very strange.
very
I
strange.
don't think it means
I think-
anything.
I think we're as humans. Well, we know as humans we're very good at finding patterns and finding meanings in things, and that's evolutionarily because we have to know what something is, or else like if you see a rustling in the bush, is it a squirrel or is it a lion going to eat you? You have to like make something up to know, or it's just life and death. So to find meanings and like why things are is something that we inherently do. So
Right.
I don't think their dreams have like it means you're trying to this is a turtle and the turtle is telling you that you need to slow down in life and accept your passions. No, you dreamt a turtle, right?
Yeah. I
So
think like the things you see during the day or even right before or what you think about right before you go to sleep have a big influence on what your dreams are, as
Right.
opposed to a lot of other things.
the the one that I think that makes the most sense, and there's a lot of theories. I can't go into all of them because there's so many of them. Like they're nothing. They're this that I think it's we have seen that basically we do regrow neurons. We also create new neurological connections during sleep. So one theory, and the one I think makes the most sense, is as your brain is making those connections, it's firing off the visual and auditory parts of your brain, and your brain just like making sense of just these random connections. And your brain's like, snap! Oh, that's a turtle. It's a turtle. That thing just triggered a part of your brain that are turtles. And so your brain's just putting together this mishmash of a story. And it's part of other memories. It's part of randomness, part of your imagination, and all this gets mushed together. I think it's just essentially a random story that's created in your head because your brain is just making new connections at rest with the chemicals that get produced during your sleep. That is what I think it is. I think it means absolutely nothing.
I mean, I don't know all the theories, so I can't really tell you what mine would be. But I mean, I think that, and maybe a little bit more of possibly something that's going on in your life can be representative, like of a dream, or a dream can represent something that's going on in your life. So, if I'm running in a dream, it could be because I'm avoiding something. Like it could be just represented that way.
Right.
Not that like my dreams mean something is going to happen, but something that's happening in my life is influencing my dreams.
Well, I think
so. Like I've had dreams where some dude is like chasing me and I can't like fight back. And it was during times when I was super stressed out, and it was men that were stressing me out. Sorry, dudes.
That's what we're good at.
And so like it was kind of represented in that way in my dream. So like again, I think if you watch something right before you go to sleep, or the day that you go to sleep, if you're listening to certain kind of music, like it can make up those cool little stories in your brain, like that's firing away. And I think it could all be influenced in some way. But
right. I think one of the theories is similar to what I was talking about, but a little bit what you're talking about is it's like a way of data collecting and garbage handling, of making sense of what you've experienced throughout that time period. Of like, and as it's making sense, it's triggering your brain to process that. So within that sense, it's less random, it's more directed based on your experiences and what you've seen and heard throughout the day or the week, or whatever that data is. Your brain's a giant computer that stores.
Yeah, so
data.
I think that's what I'm saying. Yeah, okay, that's partially my thought.
Yeah. Yours is kind of like what it's
making some pictures.
Yeah, yours is mostly what I'm saying, but it makes sense of what it is.
Right. Yes.
Right. Mine is like it makes no sense. It's just randomness because your brain's making electrical pulses in your brain. That's what it does. So.
I guess I can see the correlation between certain things in life and your dreams sometimes.
Right. Yeah,
not that it's telling me something like a premonition. None of that.
Yeah,
no, of course not.
I think that's me. But I was saying like people make patterns and connections because that's evolutionary. We had to do. That's why I say that's where it comes from. Anyway, right. We can talk about this forever, man, because I love this stuff.
I know, and I really feel like a lot of it is just some stories and movies that my brain's making up from whatever's just like happening in my brain, like no big deal. And I seriously have such wackadoo dreams from my past that it's crazy. But I've also had some that were very, very emotional and intense. Like I have cried from dreams, woken up crying. I had a really horrible one about my mother. I've talked a little bit about her on the podcast. She was, not the best mom in the whole wide world. I'll just leave it at that. And the dream was super intense, short, like probably like the shortest dream ever, but super intense. And I woke up like crying from it. So dreams can be like really crazy. Could also be like the fun part of sleep too.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't get a lot of sleep, but maybe you can get to that dream part of it. Oh, that's lucky. I feel like that's like you're super lucky if you can fit in, which I guess is you, right?
What?
Like you have a short like period of sleep, but you still get to the dream state at some point. Not everybody really gets that far into things.
Yeah, no, I get there. I get there a few times before I get jolted to sleep by my stupid brain.
Oh, don't be mean to your brain.
It knows what it did.
Okay,
So
so
yeah,
let's
but
talk about some things that have helped us sleep more or deeper or better, whatever. And I'm gonna start with my most recent change that I think has made the biggest difference in my sleep. I bought a new mattress. So I have had the same mattress for quite a long time. It's always been super comfy.
mm,
When my college daughter comes home to visit, she always wants to sleep in my bed because it's so comfy. Um, and I was like, this thing is great. It's fine. But I only slept on one side of the bed, always like you,
mm-hmm.
but like I toss and turn, but like I always slept on one side of the bed. And after quite a while, it started to like fuck my mattress up because there's
Yeah,
only like wear on one side,
yeah.
right? So like you may have to rotate yours at some point or
I should
something and
look and
start
see,
over.
man, because like
But
mine's only
it's
2 years old.
like you could see like the thickness was different after a while. So I really needed to replace it. And I didn't realize how much it was influencing my sleep until I got like a horrible muscle strain, whatever,
Mm.
strain in my back from that mattress. And I immediately stopped sleeping on it, slept on the couch for 3 days while I waited for a new mattress to be delivered because it was the most pain I've been
Yeah.
in since like labor with my children. It was so bad. I wanted to just cry my eyes out. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm done with you, mattress. You've been good. Gotta go. Bye bye. I got a new mattress. And I've now had it for a few weeks. Oh, you guys, it's so beautiful. Like I said, I'm dreaming again. Um, if I wake up in the middle of the night to like flip over, because I mean, I'm still always going to be a light sleeper. There's no magic to it.
Mm.
But if I do flip over and kind of wake up doing so, I'm able to go right back to sleep. There's no like I wake up for no random reason and then I'm just awake forever. There's no laying in bed forever not being able to sleep. I'm like, this is comfy. I want to go sleepy times now. Like the second my body hits the mattress, I'm like, yeah, this is what it's about. And I know it's like a place of privilege to say that I was able to that quickly buy a new mattress. There was a time in my life where I could not. So I understand that that's not something everyone can do. I get it. It's a big purchase. I just was in so much pain. I couldn't get back in my bed. I tried 2 nights in a row and it just made it worse. So I was like, I kind of got to say goodbye to the old one.
Well,
So if you can get a new mattress, and I'll put a link in the show notes of the mattress I got. It is from Amazon, evil. I know who evil, bad, so
at
mad.
this
But it's the
point, how can
quickest
you
I could
not?
get one.
Well, you spend on people spend on average 1/3 of their entire lives sleeping.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And so that's why the most common recommendation is if you're having troubles going to sleep or if you're in pain when you wake up, and people are like, well, it's I'm not stretching or exercise. Check your mattress. How old is your mattress?
Yeah.
Um, the last, I mean, it's going to depend on manufacturer. So if you know your manufacturer, you can look and see how long you should have the mattress. Most of them are 8 years.
Yeah.
It's recommended you
You're
should
right.
change your mattress out 8 years. I've seen some be 10.
Yes, I have seen that too.
So check the manufacturer. But if you don't know the manufacturer, because maybe they've gone out of business or you rip the tag off, now you can go to jail. Um, but if you
So
don't know the
stupid.
manufacturer, but if it's been 8 years or longer, you need to replace your mattress. One, it's gross.
Yes.
It collects skin cells, even with sheets. It gets skin cells and body oils, and it gets kind of grody, and it gets mites and all kinds of stuff in it. But if your mattress is 8 years or older, it's always recommended you replace it unless the manufacturer states it can last up to 10 years. But 8 years or and longer is you need to look into get rid of it. I think I have a few years left on mine. Nope, I should have 5 years left on mine, thankfully.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. So
We also just bought a new one for our youngest daughter because she also is having back pain, and she's had tremendous change in that as well because of a new mattress.
it
So
was wonders. Just changing
yes,
mattress out.
it really does. And we got completely different kinds of mattresses. Like the firmness is very
Yeah.
different, like it's just, I don't know, it's just different the way we went about getting the mattresses and the like thickness and stuff. Your body maybe wants something different. We are a family that has realized that we hate memory foam,
Mm.
and we will never sleep on that horrible crapness
I
again.
have foam. I have foam for my mattress. I got mine from IKEA.
can't can't hate it.
Yeah.
Super hate it. We've all tried the same mattress and hate it.
Yeah, I would recommend going to a mattress store and just kind of laying different firmnesses and things like that, different
Mhm.
pillow tops and foams. Figure out what you like. You don't have to buy from there. It's like going and trying out a car. You don't have to buy the car there. And then go online and find. There's also like purple mattress. They're just like this like squishy
Yes.
rubber stuff. So there's a lot of options out there. But yeah, if you're definitely having problems sleeping in general, like get comfortable going to sleep, you're in pain when you wake up. Mattress is the one you want to go check out. So next, I think both you and I both have done these is just extremely hard drugs. No, I'm just kidding. Magnesium,
Like,
which I think that's what
what?
you've done. You've used magnesium.
Yes, so I take a
Um,
magnesium supplement pretty consistently. I would say like I at least remember 5 out of 7 days a week, and I feel like it's helped not just with sleep, but also kind of with the aches and pains of life in general. Like I just feel like it could also be because I'm not sleeping on a crappy mattress anymore, so it's hard to tell which is going with which. But I definitely feel like I have better sleep now since using the magnesium. And it's just like another supplement that I take. I think it's a great addition. It's been recommended by a lot of people that deal with sleep, even if they're not vegan. Everyone I talk to that's like figured out how to sleep better, almost all of them say magnesium in some way. You
Mm.
can also use a lotion with magnesium. I don't know
Yes.
how well that would work. I mean, if that would be enough for you physically, but I have like a sleepy time lotion that I use,
Mhm.
but I also have a magnesium lotion, so maybe I should double up.
Don't just no wake up. Wait.
I
No,
might,
so
I need to
well,
like NyQuil myself out.
magnesium is a natural kind of like muscle soother and relaxer. That's
Yes.
why I actually have magnesium oil that like if I have a sore muscle I can rub into it. That really helps.
Mhm.
People who run a lot they typically use magnesium in like their back and their legs, their knees. And it also triggers like melatonin, which is released when you're trying to sleep. Now I've taken ZMA and ZMK, both, and it's zinc, magnesium, and ZMA is zinc, magnesium, and B6.
Mhm.
ZMK is zinc, magnesium, and potassium. And these are all chemicals that are released when you go to sleep. They're also chemicals that aid the release of sleepy time chemicals. I hit my elbow on my desk.
Oh,
Gonna keep that in.
no. Hate that happens.
Yeah, but I do have a warning if people want to try. They work. They will flat out. They work. I got deep sleep when I would take them. I will warn you. They will give you weird dreams. They do affect dreams. They also do trigger sleep paralysis, which can be quite scary.
Yikes.
Yeah. So I would have you'd have dreams where like you're falling from a building, and that's all you dream is falling in terror from building. You got some really scary dreams. Some of you just like you remember the Matrix where you'd fall, hit the road, and you'd bounce, and he bounced. You'd have those dreams. Like there's a lot of falling and flying dreams for ZMK, which is really weird. I took ZMK. I think I took ZMA once, but I mean I took ZMK. But sleep paralysis is something that I'd get with it. I didn't like. So you'd wake up and you can't move. Like you're
Right.
conscious, you're awake, but like your body's not there yet. And people have reported, and I'm one of the people of seeing
Yeah.
things in your room when you're like that.
Yes. Yes,
Uh,
I have a friend who's also experienced that
Yeah,
as well.
something standing at the edge of your bed,
Yep.
sitting in the
Mhm.
corner, looking through the doorway and watching you, and you're like,
Yep.
okay, yeah, this isn't cool. There are weird looking. If anyone who's Doctor Who fan who's seen The Silence,
Oh God.
That's what that's what it looked like to me. God, I hadn't even seen Doctor Who yet. I took this before I was even a Doctor Who fan, but it was just like these like almost like a Slender Man kind of a thing, just like
Yeah, that's exactly what I picture too.
standing over, kind of like watching. It's like okay, and there's a lot of lore with that. Of like there's like it's like that people would call the Sandman and stuff like that. There's a lot of like
Yeah.
like ancient lore with like someone watching you sleep in there. It's like guides you through your sleep process. But yeah,
I've
I would
never
see. I've seen
experienced
that.
but
I've experienced that
ugh.
sleep paralysis and sleep in the sea and that. Usually you see that with sleep paralysis. So and
Ugh.
you know, there's a lot of reasons we can argue how that happens. But yeah, so some
I'm
supplements
glad
do
that
work.
you gave that warning.
Yeah, there's supplements from my experience they do work. I'm not a fan of them. Magnesium I've never tried before. ZMA, ZMK I've tried. I just don't like the dreams that it gives, and I don't like the paralysis that comes along with it.
What about CBD?
I haven't used CBD. I think you have.
I have,
I
I
have
have, and
not.
it definitely helps with sleep. I currently have powder that I can put into a drink that I also I have a sleepy time tea that I enjoy that I didn't put on here, but I don't oh man, I don't like tea. Woo!
What is
Everybody
wrong
get
with you?
mad.
I'm mad.
I
I'm
don't
so
like
pissed at you.
tea. Shut up. But I have a sleepy time tea that my therapist mentioned, and I accidentally ordered like 3 boxes instead of one. So I have sleepy time tea and then I can put CBD in it. So I feel like that's a good combo
Oh
when I
yeah.
remember to take it. I don't always remember to take it. So it's also a great thing. Like, if you're about to go into a meeting and you're like super anxious about it, it can also help calm you down a little bit so you're not so anxious, which is very helpful in my life.
Oh yeah. I know. If you friends to take it for sleep. I can't remember her name, and I'm sorry. I'm critical names. Actually, no, you might remember her name. God, again, I suck with names so bad. But we had her on. We're talking about herbs and teas and stuff like that. And she had the weed book coming out, I believe.
Was it Barb Webb?
I think so. And
Yes,
we had talked
Barb
about
Webb.
we had talked about
Getting baked.
yes, and we had talked about CBD and how like a lot of CBDs it's mixed with like lavender and other chemicals and
Yes.
things and herbs that are known to help relax and put you in that state of mind. So I know I know they work. I know people who use them. You being one. Other people I have other friends who use it, and it works for them. I just never have, but I haven't. Now one thing I do. Go ahead.
I was just going to say something that I have used and doesn't work for me, but does work for you is melatonin.
Yes, I take melatonin every night. I have
I love
melatonin
that.
every night about half hour before bed. I have this like I have a little container. Actually, it's a big container. I just put it into a smaller thing so I can put in the drawer of melatonin vegan, obviously melatonin gummies.
True.
Make sure because they're gummies. I make sure they're vegan. Big on the package,
Yep.
vegan. And I think they're like I can't remember if they're 5 or 10 milligrams each, but I didn't know one does nothing for me. So I take I'm gonna say about 10 to 15 milligrams of melatonin every night, 30 minutes before bed. I turn
Okay.
all my lights off and get into bed. And then when I feel myself getting a little drowsy, is when I get up, brush my teeth, do all my little nightly stuff. Because the melatonin does, I mean, it's like a berry flavor. So I don't
Mhm.
like brush teeth and then do the melatonin or
Yes,
vice versa because it tastes
totally get
terrible.
that.
Ugh, it tastes horrible. So when I can feel it kind of like working a little bit, that's when I'll go and like brush my teeth and like that, and then I'll get back in bed, and then usually within like another like 10 minutes, I'm down, I'm out, and I will usually, unless I'm stressed, I'll sleep straight through the night and sometimes get a little more than 5.
Nice.
So my whole thing with telling about taking melatonin was, and I talked to my therapist about this, and I talked to you about this, and I all kinds of people about like should I do it, should I not? Was I'm not worried about getting more hours. I'm worried about getting
Yes.
better quality.
Yes. Uh-huh. That is very important.
Right, because I'm like I don't think I'm gonna get more than 5 or 6. That's fine. But if I can get long enough and not wake up in the middle of the night, not
Yes.
and what I have found is because melatonin, it's helping me stay asleep. It's my like being a light sleeper. I'm less likely to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't do anything for my head.
Yes.
It doesn't do anything for my exploding head syndrome because that's a stress induced.
Right.
But when I finally get to sleep, I'll stay asleep.
And I feel like that's what like magnesium and CBD does for me is it helps me like stay asleep as well. I don't know why melatonin doesn't work for me. Maybe just have certain things that take
don't know.
away that ability to make me drowsy. I don't know, but it's never worked for me. It works for my kids wonderfully. Like Gabby's used melatonin before for sure. But I think like CBD and magnesium seems to work a little bit better for me. But I'm so excited that you started taking melatonin because you're right. You're not going to be some guy who gets 8 hours. I
Yeah.
get that. But it's so important that you get that solid 5 to 6. And
I do.
it's great to hear that it's happening and that all it takes is like a little gummy at night that,
Yeah.
is also now part of your sleep routine too, is what it sounds like, which is great.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it absolutely is. And I was worried about taking it first because I was afraid that if I took it, then my body would stop producing what it was making, and it would just be independent. And I did research to make sure, and there's no solid long-term research that shows that melatonin that happens in melatonin. Your body doesn't stop making it and get dependent on a secondary source. There was warnings with things like you'd find in like sports supplements, especially with like energy-based sports supplements that can cause issues. But regarding things like melatonin and like natural compounds like that, there's not any hard evidence that there's a concern. They said like if you notice you're feeling different or acting different, then maybe take a break. But as long as you're not overdoing it, then just taking all the gummies, you should be fine. So, and I've noticed a huge difference.
Same thing as everything else, right?
Yeah.
Same thing as don't take all the CBD in the world either. Like,
right.
if you see it starts to bother you, then maybe cut it out. I think that kind of goes for a lot of things. Magnesium too, I guess, if it's your body reacted badly or something to it, like you have to think about those things. So we each have our thing for like things that kind of help us stay asleep. So I have something that helps me get to sleep to begin with. That's like my trouble. I am just like a lot of people where I lay in bed and just think a lot and overthink and think of past things, future things, all the things. Things I forgot that suddenly pop into my brain, like why now, why are you, and then like, oh god, the worst. So I'm definitely that person. So there's something on here I didn't put in, but I'm going to slide that in before I talk about this next little thing. I do write down like a to-do list, whether it's in my phone or on my actual, like I have a agenda kind of thing. Because that's part of what keeps me awake is things I know I need to do. And, oh my God, I forgot this, or I need to make this a bigger priority, or I should really do this. I write it down where I'm going to see it the next day. So then I'm like, okay, your brain you've already figured out that you need to do this. It's already on the list. You can stop thinking about it now. Like it's, there's no reason to harp on something because you wrote it down. It's in the agenda. It's cool. It's fine. So I do take like a few minutes to make sure everything's kind of ready for the next day or whatever that week. And I do meditation at night. I know a lot of people that like to wake up and meditate, and I tend to do my meditation at night. So after I do like my to-do list and I get that crap out of my brain, then I'm like, okay, let's chill. Let's like calm the brain some. I use Insight Timer app. There's also the Calm app. And the free versions are just as fine. There's also a million meditation things on YouTube that are completely free. And there's a lot that are specifically for sleep, whether you want to work with your breathing, relax your body, let go of any stress you were dealing with that day, or prepare for the next day, or just like get deep into sleep. You can find a meditation that fits whatever you're looking for. And so nighttime is my time to do that, to kind of shut my brain down. I do slip in meditation before big meetings because also, again, trying to work on my anxiety. Always a struggle. But there's literally meditations for like work. So, I mean, Yes, thank you guys for all this material. But I use meditation to help myself kind of calm down, chill out, focus on my breathing to really chill. Now I do this after I've TikToked for a while, after I've done some of the other things I'm going to talk about on this list. It's kind of my right before I turn the phone off and go to sleep
Right.
because I need my phone to do the meditation, unfortunately, or I wouldn't even be on that. So it's kind of that right before sleep thing that really makes me so relaxed. Oh, it's my favorite part.
Well, it's kind of funny you have about like the my phone stuff because um the whole like don't use your phone half. I don't mean your phone technology half hour before. I've tried, did nothing for me.
Yeah,
Doesn't
me
seem.
too. Same
I
thing.
even got
Doesn't
blue
do
light glasses to make sure nothing.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
actually feel like scrolling on TikTok is a great like relaxing thing
I've
for me.
crashed
And
so many
I
times.
hate to like even put that as a recommendation because it sounds really superficial and silly, but it can be very soothing to just kind of like go through. Even like at night I tend to go on my people like my favorites page
Mhm.
as opposed to my for you page, so it's people I've already liked and followed instead of just random stuff, because then it's like, oh, I already know I'm going to like all of these videos because it's people I already follow.
Right.
So I tend to go on that side of TikTok at night, and that like chills me out too.
Oh
That's like
yeah.
super relaxing. Don't knock it.
I ain't talking about. I do the same thing. I crash so many times watching TikToks. But I like talk about kind of meditation, which is kind of the same thing that we're talking about it. If I'm having a real rough time and I can't really kind of like settle down, I have an app, a sound app,
Hmm.
and I'll put on like it's like I'll do like it's like rain with a little bit of crickets and a
Yes.
crackling campfire and a little bit of like water.
That is meditation,
Yeah,
like,
so I'll put that down,
yes.
and just kind of like
So
go. Yeah,
cute.
it's and it basically reminds me of like like one of the few things we did as kids that were like vacation, like was camping. So it kind of puts me in that like relaxed family happy time kind of thing that we would get. So we did that, which I would use that kind of on my phone. It's just a short meditation.
I really like that. And I think a lot of people use that same app for the white noise when they're sleeping and
Mm.
stuff. Um, Fun fact, and I think I've said this before, there was a massive flood in my house a few years ago.
That is a fun
And
fact.
before, fun fact is just a joke, okay? It's just a saying.
I know it's really funny too.
Before that flood, I would listen to Rain to go to sleep
Oh
on the
no.
same apps. After that flood, I cannot listen to anything that has water
Yeah, I bet.
because it freaks me out. Talk about not being able to go to sleep. Psh, I think the whole house is about to collapse. Also, all the bad things are happening. Really, really fucked me up. And you know what? I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's
If
fine.
that's the only thing that came from that flood is I can no longer listen to water.
Right.
It's fine.
Good Lord.
Fine.
Uh,
But yes, listening to those sounds is meditative. Like if
very.
you click on sleep sounds on a meditating app, it's the same thing.
Yeah. It's just that like nature.
Mhm.
Usually use like nature sounds and maybe
Yes.
like a cars driving by. People like that.
Waves
The
on the
waves,
beach. Yeah. It's
giraffes.
nice. Soothing, very soothing. Yeah.
Giraffes, yeah.
Okay, so that's
Um,
cute. I love that you do that.
little bit.
So
Yeah.
let's talk about temperature in the room. Is
So
that important to you? Because it
yes,
is very important
it
to
is
me.
important. It is scientifically proven to work.
Oh, I knew you were going to throw some science
Uh,
in there again.
Actually, if you have a very cool room, like cool enough where it's like too cool, a little too cool for you,
Yeah.
um, and you're getting to a bed that's warm, it's not scientifically proven that can actually help regulate your body temperature and actually can help you fall asleep.
Oh, that sounds
So it's
lovely.
recommended to have a cool bedroom, among other things we'll talk about, uh, and have a warm bed, and that is proven to actually get you into a sleep state.
I really like that. And we have two thermostats in our house. So,
Same.
like, the upstairs can be a different temperature. And so we keep it a little bit colder upstairs when it comes to nighttime. Like,
Mm.
we have it set to go down to a certain temperature. And thankfully, we kind of all agree on that nighttime temperature for the most part. You
Right.
know, it can be like a fight. It is locked upstairs to only Todd, my husband, can touch it because
That's
there have been people have touched.
it's a
I touch the
stereotypical
bottom
rule.
one downstairs all the time. I'm a
That's right.
rebel.
Dude, I've been there when you've touched it. He comes up, who's touched the thermostat?
He knows he's such a dad.
That's
It's
ridiculous.
so
It's way too hot here.
I'm like, shush, I get hot, okay? I'm getting into that stage of life where I get hot. So he's so mean to me.
You've always been in that stage.
Oh, that was so easy.
You like that one? Oh, God, you can use
love
that
it,
one.
love it.
Sorry for the snap.
Yes, I need to be cold. Oh my gosh. Not like I mean I want the blankets to make me all nice and toasty, but like I'm a very hot person, especially like I just said, I'm at that stage of life where I get a little hot at night. And you get like hot flashes during the night. So having a cool room is really important. I want like one of those cool mattress sheets to put on my bed that like keeps the bed nice and cool. I really want to try one for the summer and see if it helps because
I have one.
Do you like it?
I love it.
Okay.
Yeah, I will actually, because I got my mattress from IKEA, and then a few weeks after getting the bed, I went there to something else, and I was like, holy shit! They had like a little thing that straps to the bed. It's a cooling mat. And it's not. There's no electricity to it. It just basically has like a certain type of fiber in it that just kind of absorbs heat. Yeah, I have that. I also have cooling pillows.
Oh, see, I really like that.
All my pillows are cooling. I have a cool top pad and I keep them cool. I have a fan on, whole fucking deal. And then I have like nice blankets and stuff that I put on that keep it warm. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I have that down. I know how to handle that.
Yeah, we've definitely like I don't know, like making sure it's the right kind of temperature and comfiness. Like I've got that part of it kind of handled. There's certain things that I do during the day or I do like right before going to bed that are really important. But besides the temperature, you have on here dark room. Of course, it's got to be dark. There are people that keep the TV on. I find you people crazy.
Yeah, if I do that, it's an accident. I fall asleep with it on, but that's not on purpose. That's because I'm like, I'm late in. Like there's times I'm like, I'm downstairs, I'm bored. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go in bed. We'll put on a little Seinfeld. I'm watching all the Seinfeld now. Yeah, it's on Netflix. Might as well. So I'll put that on, relax, maybe watch. Done. I'm out. And I wake up like, crap. But so again, scientifically proven. You have a dark room. Your actual light, basically, it messes with your circadian rhythm, because if there's light, your brain can't fully enter its sleep state. I think it's the pineal gland that gets activated, and it prevents you from getting a full sleep because your body doesn't recognize that it is dark time. Go sleep now. Because I say it that way because it's very caveman. It's very pitch black. Monsters outside. Go to sleep. Wake up. And so if you don't get eaten while you're gone, while you're down. So I blackout curtains. If you can't, blackout curtains can be quite pricey. If you have a problem with blackout curtains, you can actually get film. You can put on your windows in your bedroom. And even blinds. Just get the room as dark as you can. No TV. No night lights. Close your door if you can. Anything you do to get the room as dark as possible is going to 100% aid in sleep. I don't like when I get in bed. I don't get in bed to just go to sleep. I'm usually going to like be on my phone or read something or whatever.
Yeah, me too.
And I have like you see my room. I have these like little lamps attached to the headboard. Got it from IKEA. They're great. They just clamp on, and I turn those on, and it's just enough low light where I can see in the room.
Mine
just
too.
Barely enough. Yeah. And then so at night when I'm feeling myself drowsy, click it off, and that room goes pitch black. I keep snapping, guys. I'm sorry. I know that's not great for audio. My room goes pitch black. And usually by that time, if I'm at the point where I'm turning the light off, I'm going to sleep, and I will just pass out almost immediately from doing that.
Nice.
Yeah.
And one thing on this list is I do tend to read if I like right before bed. I do a little TikTok-y, and then I do my reading, and then I do my meditating in that order, because the TikTok kind of helps me, I don't know, relax in like a nice, cool way. But then I do the reading, which helps me. One, I love to read. It's something that really like gives me joy. And then it also kind of calms me down even more. I can almost fall asleep at that point. But then when I like add in the meditation, it's like a three punch, whatever.
One, two,
What's
three.
it called? Doo, doo,
It's
doo,
called a
doo.
2-piece and a biscuit.
Oh,
Bop, bop, bop. It's 2 pieces, 1, 2, and a biscuit's the third shot.
Way.
Anyway,
Knockout.
knockout punch.
I don't know. The three of them combined, I will have no problems going to sleep. Plus, like making my list of my to-dos for the next day.
Yeah.
Like that just kind of sets the tone and how like I've got things out of my brain. And then I'm like, just getting all comfy, and then I'm reading and I'm TikToking. Like the whole rhythm of it just kind of also slows me down, like in a nice soothing way, instead of just like get in the bed, go to sleep.
Well,
Like I have to physically do it in a slow way. Ridiculous.
anything, it's been proven as well that anything that, and reading goes along with this, anything that is not monotone. I don't know how to say monotone in a physical way, but anything that is very
Rhythmic, like
rhythmic,
reading can
yes.
be like rhythmic.
Rhythmic.
Yeah.
Reading is rhythmic. It's like you're reading a sentence. You're reading at your
Yes.
own pace. It's
Yes, you make your own pace. You're right.
knitting, anything that's just kind of like following a
Mhm.
pattern and a pattern and a pattern can be very relaxing and make me fall asleep. Reading sometimes does the opposite for me. If it's like crazy good and I'm like, what's gonna happen next? It can get my fight or flight going, get my anxiety and adrenaline up, and then I'm not gonna sleep. So, or if I go to sleep so fast, I never finish a book, which is why I have a book I've been reading for 2 years because I keep trying to read it when I go to sleep and I fall asleep reading it. I get nowhere with this. It's a good book.
Funny.
Drive me crazy.
The books I read during the day, technically I'm not reading them, they're audio books, but I mean I consider that reading because I do have to follow along with what's happening and keep track of things. But then at night it's a physical book that I read, and I can't relax with the audio book at night the way that I can with a physical book. I don't know what the difference is.
I wonder if it's because one is activating a different parts of your brain.
Maybe.
But one is activating the auditory part of your brain. Maybe
Yeah.
it's activating the visual part. So maybe how that relates to the actual part of your brain to actually control sleep. Maybe.
So interesting, right?
Interesting, yeah.
Maybe also like as a kid, I always read before bed, my entire life. Like I've always just like my family would read before bed. I would read before bed. So maybe it's just like a habit kind of thing, but
could be. I mean, one thing you do have on here is hot showers.
A good hot shower can be so relaxing earlier in the night. Like, oh my God, or a hot bath. Because I had like sleepy time stuff for my bath too.
Right.
Like there's a lot of sleepy stuff for showering and bathing that also kind of helps with the smells as you're in the hot shower, whatever.
It is scientifically proven.
Oh my gosh.
That it doesn't work.
Drinking game.
I'm
Go
kidding.
back and take a shot every time David said that.
So when you shower, it elevates your body temperature. And when you come out of the shower, it have a sudden drop in body temperature. That can actually trigger the release of melatonin and help in falling asleep. So if you take a hot shower, you come out. Now, if you do things like you get up, you go to work, you're moving around, it's going to be counterproductive to that, so you don't have the effects from it. But if you take a hot shower, you get out, you're in a cool bedroom because you've kept the temperature low, maybe you have a fan on, you get into a warm bed, you do something that's meditative, whether you're reading or you're just something soothing, whatever it is. You do something like that, and you're not falling asleep, something's happening because that's the 2-piece and a biscuit. Up your body temperature, drop your body temperature, cool room, dark room, something meditative, you're in. That is setting sail down the river of sleep. That's not even a thing. I made it up, but that's what you're doing.
Oh my God. And that like leads to one of our tips here is routines. Having like a nighttime routine that works for you. As you can tell, as we're going through this list, I kind of tell you what my nighttime routine is, as like what I'm drinking and consuming before I even get to my bedroom. What I'm putting on my body before I even get into my bed. I'm putting like, magnesium nighttime lotion on.
Right.
If I'm taking a shower or a bath, like that's like the stuff leading up to sleep for me It's so ridiculous what I have to do to get the good night of sleep. But listen,
As long as you get it.
I figured it out and I'm down for it. Okay.
Right. As
But
long as
it is
works for
like
you.
a multi-part thing that starts way earlier
Mhm.
than the actual sleep, like hours before sometimes. It all depends on, how lengthy my sleep routine needs to be that night.
I mean, sleep experts have looked at routines over and over again, and they've said that, like, setting a routine to let to tell yourself mentally, physically, emotionally that it's time to go to bed, you can see drastic improvements. Like, it doesn't have to be the same thing for your person. I mean, for me, I call it doing my nightlies. That's what I
Right.
call it. It's like,
It's very different for both of us.
right, and when I had I had an ex live with me, I was like, all right, gotta do my nightlies. It means the same thing every night. It means I'm gonna go downstairs, I'm gonna make sure the doors are locked, wipe the counters off, make sure things are picked up, make sure the animals have water, drink a glass of water myself, come upstairs, all the stuff to do. I do the same thing every night. And it's kind of putting myself in the mentality of now it's time to chill. We're gonna go to bed
Right.
now. And this right. It's take my melatonin, lay in bed for a bit with my phone, get up, brush my teeth, go back to bed.
Skincare.
Skincare, yeah, because that's
Yes.
after the shower, which I've gone to the gym,
Favorite part.
and took a shower, did my oils and stuff.
Right.
So yeah, routines. It's just it's preparing yourself mentally and emotionally and physically to get into that routine and that setup. So your body's going, okay, now, because we're creatures of habit. So if your body knows this is what's happening next as we're going, it can already start getting in those patterns and getting used to those
Right.
and releasing those chemicals you need to finally get into that state of sleep.
And I don't think anything we've said tonight is like, earth shattering like information. But what I want you to take away from this episode is that it's not just one thing that may help you. Like you see commercials for melatonin gummies and you're like, oh, I'm just going to take those melatonin gummies and my sleep is going to be so great. And that may not be true. For me, it takes several steps to get to that good sleep, like it's not just a one step thing. And I think that's when people get kind of discouraged and they're just like, I'm going to be an insomniac forever.
Right.
It's like try a combos of things, even like me, 5 or 6 things in a row that you have to do. But it's worth it when you can get really good sleep because man, that feels so good compared to a night where you slept horribly and then you have that awful brain fog where all you can think about is getting back in bed, but then you have insomnia again and it's just so annoying. That was my life.
Right. It has to be consistent. You can't just do it once or twice and go, well, that didn't work. You have to take it for. I did the melatonin for like a month before I was like, okay, this is working.
Yeah.
It takes a while for it to kick in any of the routines. You have to get used to, being on top of it, doing it repeatedly, and getting your body used to this sort of interaction because it's not used to it.
And you can even try one thing for, a week and see how it goes. Yeah. Add a second thing for a week and do both of them together, see how it goes. Add a third thing, and some things may not work for you. So like I tried for a little bit to do artwork before bed because I'm like, I'm a super creative person. I love to just make things, but that didn't relax me. I got like I hated like kind of cutting myself off. I'm not a, spend 10 minutes painting or drawing kind of person. That just seems like silly. Right. So it didn't become a permanent part of my nighttime routine, but I tried it out to see how it would go as like, if I didn't feel like reading one night or something, could I try that? And it didn't work out for me. So just like for a lot of things, kind of figuring out what's going to work for you. It may take a little bit of time, but a lot of trial and error can get you to some good sleep. My last tip is, I'm assuming a tip that David would also back.
Oh yeah.
Therapy is also a wonderful way to help you sleep. And it may sound weird if you don't go to therapy and like, how is that linked together? But when you're working on your brain, it can help you decompress and relax enough to go to sleep. Being able to work through some of your trauma, some of your things that, cause issues in your life, some bad habits, things like that can help you let it all go at the end of the day and just go to sleep instead of running through, as I used to do, worst case scenarios about every little thing. So I highly encourage, if you have the means to, look into therapy. We've talked about this a million times now. There are companies that also have sliding scale options to pay for therapy. There are institutes like the Anxiety Institute of Atlanta, which I think also will take on people that can't afford therapy. They'll take on one or two new people that, they can help financially. So there's other options out there. There's also a bunch of therapy like videos on YouTube if you can't afford, to pay for therapy, because that again is also a privilege. But any way that you can work on your brain a little bit will help you, I think, in the long run, sleep better. Right. As I was finishing some very intense therapy at the beginning of the year, I started sleeping so much better for this like long period of time before my mattress really just ruined everything. I slept so good. And when I told David about it, he goes, "Oh yeah, that's a therapy sleep." And I was like, "What?" And then I told my therapist, she goes, yeah. People do that a lot. They can like suddenly sleep all of a sudden because they're like getting things off their brain that would keep them up at night. Sounds so like simple, but working on those things that just plague you at night, makes them not plague you anymore. Such a simple concept. It's so crazy. Oh, goodness. And listen, what's hysterical about the fact that we're doing an episode on sleep is the fact that we record pretty late at night,
Right.
because we both have jobs. And after we record, we're both pretty pumped up. I don't know why. We are just like fired up for a little bit. I can never go to sleep after we record. It'll be one of those late nights. Tuesday nights or late nights for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. And especially after the time I got like clean the kitchen and like I gotta pick up stuff around the house because I have a whole thing going on this week. So yeah, which is good because I need to be awake to get some stuff done right now. So it works out for me.
Right.
But I'm the same way for sure.
So we're going to be up pretty late tonight. We'll be needing all of these things for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
But
oh yeah,
we would love to hear if you guys have any other tips. And I know I say this every time. However, this is a big one for me because sleep has always been an issue, as I've made it clear. It has improved tremendously, but I'm always here to improve it even more. So if you have any sleep tips, please let us know. And how would you do that? You can message us on Instagram or Facebook at The Average Vegans, or email us at theaveragevegans@gmail.com. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Pocket Casts, anywhere else you get your podcast fix. Make sure to leave us a review, pretty please, on all the things, stars, hearts, whatever you do. Say we're great. That's all wonderful. We need more reviews. Please recommend us to all of your friends, family, anyone that you know that is interested in a plant-based vegan lifestyle, and also other things like learning about therapy and sleep, apparently, as well. Give us a follow on all the social media. You can find show notes, links, and more at our website, theaveragevegans.com. And of course, again, we want to hear your tips on sleep, because we're always trying to make it better. And we want to hear your episode ideas, your suggestions. If you know someone that would like to be on the show that we should interview, let us know. Send us a message. We would love to hear from you guys. And that is it for this week.
All right. Well, until next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.